What's up, guys? Welcome to another live stream with Tackle 22 Fishing. We're going to give it just a minute here because Facebook was a little slow notifying everybody that we're live. We're here with my good buddy Shannon Book. If you guys haven't seen me promoting him on our Facebook page here lately, he is a singer songwriter. He is a veteran. He's a former Navy corpsman. And being
Don't give away all my secrets.
a being a prior Marine, we love our corpsmen. So, Shannon, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Shannon Book. I'm a dad of two amazing kids. I'm a son to a mother and father from Kentucky. I'm a brother to two younger sisters. And yeah, man, I'm originally from a little town called Hazel Patch, Kentucky. If you've never heard of it, don't worry, you won't hear about it again.
There's actually someone in the comments from Kentucky right now.
That's probably somebody I'm related to, which is weird. So I joined the military in 1994, and I really haven't necessarily slowed down since then.
That's awesome. Shannon and I met each other on TikTok, oddly enough, and really, really
where all the weird people meet.
That's right. That's right. You got to keep it weird.
Yeah. Got to keep them separated.
That's right. I got to listening to his music. We got to talking a bit more, and his music really just kind of meant a lot to me. I personally deal with PTSD, and that's what we strive to help with as an organization through Tackle 22 Fishing. So, if you served in the military, and you've dealt with some level of PTSD, or you have experienced, someone who's become one of the 22, you've dealt with veteran suicide either in your unit, friends and family members, or, been close to it yourself. His music really spoke to me on that level of, being not just suicide prevention, but overcoming, the overcoming those feelings and living better days. So, Shannon, if you could maybe expand on that, maybe if that was some of your inspiration for some of the songs you wrote.
Man, it's first of all, I'd just like to say that I appreciate what you do, Eddie. I love, how do I say this? I met Eddie watching Eddie try to save his own life after losing one of his own friends. And it was probably one of the most intense moments that I've ever shared with a Marine outside of combat. And so it was a moment that drew me in, and I decided that at that moment that I was really going to get to know you. And I don't know what it was. I don't know why you started listening to my music, but I'm glad you did, and I'm glad we're friends now. And I'm banking on that day we go fishing, because
I can't wait, brother.
I want to catch some ditch pickles, and I want to catch some hogs. So
as long as you bring the guitar, we'll be all right.
I mean, there's usually one attached to me somewhere. So, but so most of my inspiration for my music, it's so widespread. It's almost as if it's almost as if it was born in me. And then I have this flyaway chin here I'm trying to pin down, but don't mind me.
It is kind of born into you, if you're writing about life, it's there with you.
Right. So I grew up in Kentucky, and Kentucky is literally the home of bluegrass, man. So, and to me, bluegrass is like the original metal.
For sure. my grandfather was a huge bluegrass fan. He played anything with strings from
Right.
banjo, uke, mandolins,
Right.
ukuleles. He even restored them.
Dulcimers, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hammer dulcimers, pick dulcimers, all that stuff. Like my neighbors, the girls used to play feather dulcimers. You know what I'm talking about? They take a chicken feather or
yeah,
whatever, and they use the feather as the pick, and they
yeah.
play the dulcimer.
I love the way a dulcimer sounds. There was this
Yeah,
guy I used to follow on YouTube years back who would always play "Tears for Fears." Everyone wants to rule the world
yeah, yeah.
on
On a
one. And
dulcimer.
yeah,
Right on. That's
it's awesome.
killer. But so from that point, I was in the 5th grade. And they asked, I was sitting in the classroom, and it was just sitting in the classroom. They're like, "Hey, so we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna do open enrollment in the school band." I was like, "Sign me up,
Yes,
boo." So I went into the band room, and I fell in love with the saxophone. I fell in love with the saxophone, so I took the I guess maybe it's the rental slip, or I don't remember what it was back then, because I was the 5th grade. What
right.
was that like? Was that like 10, 12, maybe
Yeah,
something like that? So I took it home, and I was like, I want to play in the band. And they're like, "Oh, great, what are we gonna play?" I'm like, "Sax." They're like, So I finally get the saxophone, and I start going to band, every day at school. And I learned everything. I learned like at that point, I started learning every wind instrument. We back then, we were kids. We shared our instruments. We didn't care.
right.
We just did whatever we did.
Yeah,
And I learned all the wind instruments. I learned a lot of percussion. I learned, I just learned music. We learned music. We learned math. We learned, composition. We learned. Music was awesome back then,
right.
because we learned the basics of music, and we took it, and we went, then there was the competition for seats, man. That was the cool thing. Like, we're playing what we're playing like Mary Has a Little Lamb, and we're having competitions for seats, fool.
That's right.
Get out of my seat, punk.
My son is in the band, and he plays percussion, and he's always competing with his fellow
Yeah, man.
percussionists, and I love it.
There is no competition trophy. Like, hey, you guys all get trophies. No, you get first seat. Get out of my seat, fool. you know
Yeah,
so that's where it started. And my grandfather, John Book, I'll never forget that man. Probably one of the most amazing men in my life. He walked up to me one day, and he hands me this cassette, and he goes, "This is Boots Randolph." He said, "This is Boots Randolph's greatest hits." He says, the very moment that you can play this cassette," and I said cassette. I mean, we were still listening to 8-track back then.
that's right.
So he said, "As soon as you can play this cassette front and back," he says, "I'll buy you your very own saxophone." Well, I never accepted I never took a challenge I didn't accept. I mean, I've always accepted a challenge. I never backed down from one. Kind of reminds me of the time my dad bet me I wouldn't hit my grandpa's Lincoln with my Johnny Bench Louisville Slugger.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah, I broke my Cincinnati Red Louisville Slugger over my grandpa's
it's
bumper.
instant regret. I'm sure.
Oh,
Grandpa
I
was not
mean,
very happy.
yeah, I know that was. And they were all like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You just told me to hit the. Told me to hit the car.
Right, right.
What the hell?"
So
Anyway, long story short, um, I was up for the challenge, and I literally started, and I kind of started getting away from playing technical music, and then I started playing what I heard and what I felt.
right.
I started playing the stuff like the song on the Lost Boys, where dee 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 dee, and I like,
Thou shalt not.
yeah, do
Yeah,
dee 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 doo. then I started playing all that stuff. And so it just kept progressing. It kept progressing. And I would sing all the time anyway. I'd sing with everything on the radio. My dad used to tell me, shut up, boy, I can't hear back. I can't hear the radio. You know? So, but now, now my dad's, my dad's pretty much, I'm sure he's always been proud of me. He just had a real weird way of showing it. But,
Right.
you know, what's up, Jeff? Thank you, man. But I think he's talking about the Lost Boy song.
He is.
Because that is an awesome song.
It is a badass song.
Yeah, it is. And I didn't even cuss yet. You did. Don't yell at me. Put a quarter in.
I'll have a 20 in it by the time the day's over.
It is what it is. So that just gives me free right now. I'm allowed because the producer has already said A, and I'm gonna be. I'm just gonna increase the level.
All right, so let's not go to 100 though.
Yeah, no. We're just gonna go to 65.
I'm good with that.
So, but I stopped playing technical music and I started playing field stuff, and I would sing all the time. And then somewhere in high school, like I joined the choir. I joined the choir because that's where all the pretty girls hung out.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I played football. I did all the sports stuff and whatever, but I'm still romantic because I'm a musician and all that stuff. And my buddy used to have this. My buddy Jerry Durham had this old Alvarez flat top guitar. What we call them flat tops in Kentucky. We call them flat top guitars. They're acoustics. And I would borrow it like a week at a time. And then I had my cousin Chad teach me how to play the first song I ever learned how to play. Don't ask me why I chose to pick this song, but it took me a whole year just to learn how to play the song, and I still to this day can't play it and sing it at the same time.
It's gotta be good.
It was more than words.
Oh.
Thank you, Nuno Betancourt, for teaching me everything that I needed to learn in the first song.
That is, I mean, I could listen to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it was weird and crazy, and it took me a whole year because I would borrow it for a week, and then I have to turn it back and give it back, and I might get it a month later,
right,
or 2, and I would borrow it for another week, and I would literally play until my fingers got sore and would almost bleed, and and then in choir, of course, I'm singing all this cool stuff, and I did a lot of Garth Brooks back then. They used to call me Garth Book.
Who didn't?
Yeah, true story. I mean, I was a Chris Gaines kind of guy, but that was the dumbest thing I think I ever seen in my life. We're gonna call this guy Chris Gaines, but it's still Garth
Brooks. Yeah.
That's so weird. Oh, I know what happened. He put on his Reebok pumps. That's what happened.
Stupid. So you got music all through high school. You transitioning from the sax to the flat top, start playing acoustic. When did you really start thinking about joining the military? Like, when did that become a thought process?
So my grandfather was in the Navy. Well, my grandpa Book was in the Navy. The one we were talking about was the saxophone thing. And my grandpa Sergeant was in the Army. You can't make that up. Grandpa Sergeant. You can't.
That's great.
So that's my mom's maiden name. So my grandfather Sergeant was a soldier, and growing up, he worked at the freaking the depot. He worked at the ammo depot in Kentucky. So it was part of my life. Then my aunt joined the Navy, and she became a storekeeper. And then my grandpa was talking. He's like, dude, you should join the military. Like, my grandpa was probably, that dude really did a lot of molding when it came to me. And he's like, you should consider joining the military. And I was like, yeah, I think I might. And to be honest with you, I went in the Marine Corps recruiting office first. I know you're like, oh, this is one of those stories where I was almost
Here
a
we go.
Marine.
Here we
I was
go.
almost a Marine. Well,
Pack your bags. We're going on.
we're going on a guilt trip. No, I was ready. I did great on the PFT. I did great on the freaking ASVAB, and that was before I was high. And then I got into the freaking gunny's office, who was pretending to be monitor, and he's like, "So what do you want to do, boy?" He's spitting Copenhagen in a freshly drank cup of coffee.
Yeah.
In a porcelain cup. He's like, he's just finished his coffee, put in a big old fat lipper, and he's spitting in his coffee cup. And he's like, "What do you want to do, boy?" And I was like, "I want to be a doctor."
Oh, we're fresh out.
He's like, sure don't want to be like a sniper or a cop or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I want to be a doctor. Because like 2 years prior to that, or a year prior to that, I cut my toes off with a lawnmower, and I had a surgeon, a little German guy, like I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. And this little dude I basically got OJT while I was having my own foot worked on.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, whatever. Yeah, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a trauma surgeon. Well, I kind of got my dream, but I didn't get my dream because there's no doctorate involved, but there's plenty of trauma.
Yes.
So, so the gunny looked at me and he goes, "You sure you don't want to be a sniper?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. Maybe a raider." And I don't even know what that is. He goes, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I want to be a doctor." So he spits in his coffee cup, sits it back down on his table. And he says, "Come on, boy." And he walks me out of the Marine Corps office, walks me across the hall to the Navy office, and yells at this boiler tech second class. And he goes, "Hey, boats, this young man right here wants to be a Fleet Marine Force corpsman. Make it happen." And that was it.
Nice.
That dude was so excited, he didn't care. The Marine had just given him a number.
Right.
He was like, "Oh, okay, done." And that was it.
Yeah. See, I got mine a little secondhand. Mom and dad were both Marines, and which of course meant both of them wanted me to join the Air Force.
Yeah, but you were cursed from the get-go.
I was bit. I was bit from the time I was 5 years old. I knew I was going to be a Marine.
Yeah, you had scarlet and glow running in your blood.
So
you were screwed. Your pooch was screwed way before you were born.
Oh, big time. And it's funny too, because like both sides of my family were predominantly Navy also.
Right.
One of my grandfathers was a storm chaser, hurricane chaser.
Oh, wow.
In the Navy. And my stepmother at the time, her father was a chief of the boiler room.
Oh, wow.
So, there was a lot more Navy in my family than anything.
Everybody always says that joke, "Oh, you're a seaman." That's cute. You started out as a seaman too.
I mean,
Navy we all pretty much started out as a seaman. You see where I'm going with that?
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you pull that joke on me. It just wasn't, because it happens a lot.
So the seaman book in the Navy. Let's where was the what was the first country you stepped in outside of the US wearing a uniform?
Wow. Well, I mean, we weren't wearing uniforms. We were on Liberty. So like, I know it's kind of hard to put all that into reference. So like Australia, Thailand, like,
So you went on like a Westpac.
Yeah. Like that and UDP and all that stuff. So like,
I'm jealous. We didn't get to go anywhere cool like that. When they told us it was time to load up and get on airplanes, they were taking us to where rounds were coming down range.
Well, that's A, because you're a kid, and B, what was your MOS again?
I rescued pilots. I was
Oh yeah,
crash fire rescue.
near crash fire rescue. So they really only need you on a flight line somewhere close.
True enough.
I mean, they're not asking you to go knock on a door.
No, I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, we all like to give each other inner that's gonna sound really bad. Interstitially. No.
It works. Just go.
Yeah. We'll go there. But like internally, we like to give each other a hard time. But your MOS is just as important as mine.
Right.
And we all serve the same purpose. We all serve the door kicker. I don't care who you're talking about.
In country, we work closely with STP because there was never enough hands when an alpha was coming in.
Right.
You know, for those of you watching don't know what STP is, the shock trauma platoon. It's usually a unit kind of made up between Navy and Army medical personnel that would, attempt to save lives of wounded service members that are coming in by medevac, or even wounded Taliban or wounded locals.
Right.
Not
people like me, because people like me are much more. I don't know. We're much more crass and mean. We're like people like me. Like I'm stuffing a T-shirt in an open blood wound. Like I'm stuffing a T-shirt in a bleeding hole. Like I'm not there to be nice. Like my job is to get you back to the shock trauma platoon.
Right.
And it's their job to pull the T-shirt out and fix whatever's wrong. So not that I haven't stayed and played on a Marine for a while, but yeah.
Talking about your time in the military, were you able to continue your love for music, in between deployments and floats and stuff like that? Did you carry it on?
Oh yeah, dude, I had guitars everywhere. But like I would stow a guitar in a freaking sea locker in a matter of heartbeat. Hey, what's in that freaking BDS right there? Oh, that's Book's guitar case. Whatever. As a matter of fact, in Fallujah, I bought a $50. I was like, well, during OIF1, I didn't take a guitar because there was a guitar on the ship, and I would play on the guitar on the ship. I would borrow it. I would sign it out from MWR or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I missed OIF1 by about a month.
You didn't miss much.
I hit the fleet, and my unit was split between Al Jaber, Ali Salim, and one more in Kuwait. I can't remember.
Najaf.
Yeah. But they didn't spend long out there because, the invasion moved far too fast to move them forward. So they sent them forward, deployed another unit. But, so it's crazy the things that we see in the military that, affect us, or, with things that we still think about 20 years from now.
Oh, sure.
20 years from the minute, because this time 20 years ago, I was probably working my first crash.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think. And I want to go back to when you said, the time when we met, when I was really having a hard time after the loss of a friend. The first song that I ever heard of yours,
I remember now that I suggested it to you because you were having a tough time.
Yeah, it was.
And I typed in, "Hey, you should go listen to the song Shannon Book, Not Alone."
Yeah, so it was Not Alone. That was the very first song I ever heard by Shannon, and
it's a horrible song. You should listen to it.
Let me tell you, it's powerful, and it can be too powerful in certain circumstances, certain instances, because I was already emotional, and that pulled a whole nother set of emotions out of me, but in a positive way. It was turning my negative to a positive.
Right.
And, it just spoke to me, as a Marine who's lost fellow Marines, and losing friends almost monthly.
On the daily?
Exactly, to suicide. You know,
Yep.
this is a song that someone on the fence can listen to and hopefully identify with it and see
Right.
that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that you're not alone, and
Right.
that you have a place on this earth, and that's all any of us can ask for.
And that you don't have to fight those demons by yourself, for sure.
Absolutely not.
Right.
And that is, if we can just get that to veterans across the country, any, or not even only veterans, you know, just as mental health advocates and suicide
Right.
prevention advocates, because everyone's got battles, you
Right.
know. If we can just get that message out across the nation, across the world, you
Yes.
know, we'd stop losing so many people to suicide.
You're
But
not you're not wrong.
he's got a lot of great songs out there, guys. Between "Let Me Fix Myself," "Dear Mom," "Not
Frustrated.
Alone,"
I need to
"Frustrated,"
breathe.
"I Need to Breathe." Yes, there's. You should look up Shannon Book on YouTube. You will not be disappointed.
I mean,
But
you might be disappointed, but at least you tried.
if you're disappointed, you probably don't belong
Yeah, if you're disappointed, you probably don't belong in this chat room.
here. But
But let me
anyways,
say something about "Not Alone" though, really quick, because I feel like it needs to be said. I honestly don't feel like I wrote "Not Alone." I feel like "Not Alone" wrote me, and I feel like it was written by God through me.
the best.
Because there are three people, and I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation already. There are three people in that song that are talking to one individual. That's his friend, his wife, and God.
Mm,
And or Jesus, however you want to put it. I mean, but they're all talking to the individual who's me, basically, um, letting me know that I'm not alone and I don't have to fight my demons by myself. And that even if I feel alone, it's probably because I've pushed everybody in my life away from me because I don't feel like I deserve to have
facts,
love, peace, faith, hope.
facts.
Those are all my demons talking to me. That's Satan scratching the door.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, I had to turn my hat around because I'm getting serious now. I'm about to praise. I'm about to preach, son.
We're about to get
Um,
crazy.
it's about to get praising up in here. Um, but I woke. Listen, we just gotten off the road. We came back off the road. We've been back. We've been touring. We just gotten home, and we decided we were going to go out and hang out and party in Houston. It was like probably 10 o'clock when we got home, and we're like, well, if Houston is still kicking, let's go tear it down a little bit. And we did. We got drunk and maybe high. I don't know.
It's all the same.
It is what it is. Depending on what you're using. And then I came back and I was like, well, I'm just gonna crash here on the couch at the freaking studio, and that's what I did. And I don't know, it was like 4:35 o'clock. This song started playing through my head. The words wouldn't stop. I could hear the melody. I could hear the words. And I woke up and I was like, no, 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 no. I'm hungover. Nope. I might even still be half drunk. Leave me alone. And it wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop. Now keep in mind that old band, we used to go out and our whole focus was to, you know, preach suicide prevention and try to, just try to give people a musical voice and play music for, brothers and sisters on the line. And then it just got like, so here we are, and I'm doing this, and it won't stop. So I start, I didn't turn the lights on. I grabbed my phone and I'm like, I'm gonna type the words in here. Maybe that'll make it go away.
Yeah.
So I started typing the words into the phone, and I was like, nope, nope, that ain't working. I need to get a notepad. So I get up and I get a notepad. I turn on the lights and I was like, oh, hold on, I need a guitar. So I need to get a guitar, and I got a guitar and a notepad and a Sharpie, and I was done with that song in about 5 minutes.
Man, that's powerful.
That song was written in 5 minutes after waking up hungover. And I'm pretty sure I still might have been a little drunk.
Yeah. So
Um, so
that song, man, has really gotten me through a lot of tough times. Even if I'm not sitting down listening to it, it's in the back of my mind. You know,
that means I don't even know how to say thank you to that.
it, if I'm in the weeds, I can find myself sitting there whistling it.
Wow.
And it means a lot to me. It really does. And your music in general means a lot to me, guys. We're gonna play his new music video here soon. We're gonna talk it up a little bit, but uh, the first time I watched this video, I'd already heard the song, but the first time I watched this video, uh,
Hold on, let me tell you that. Let me tell this story. Let me
all right,
tell this story.
all right, go
I get
ahead.
a text and I'm like, oh, Eddie Anderson wants to talk to me. And so I open up the text and I'm like, what the hell does he want to say to me now? Like, this is gonna be some stupid joke or something. Like we're gonna talk trash or something. And he goes, hey, I just want you to know that I haven't stopped crying yet. And I'm and I'm like, he goes, your video is amazing. I hate you. So I thought I wanted to tell that story just because that's how much I love you.
Man, it hits because I told you mom and dad were both in the Marine Corps. I think my mom kind of lives it a little bit more than my dad does. She's always kind of been my
The real Marine.
mom's definitely been more my military cheerleader and kind of my security blanket when the boogeyman comes out. So hearing that dear mom, and mom has sat through the stories when she started her
Yeah.
nonprofit, and I've told that woman everything, so she gets it. And there's no greater power on this earth than your mother.
No,
None.
no. Yeah, you're not
None
wrong.
on this earth. So
That's a hell of
uh,
a segue there, my friend.
it is. So
That's a hell of a
um,
segue. I don't even I've hold on. I get a little something in my eye right there. Yeah,
it,
thank you for that, you
it's
bastard.
it's true, man. But
I mean, I know
I,
you know your dad, but I'm gonna call you bastard anyway.
Uh, so just give us a few words here as before we play the official music video for Dear Mom about your mom and uh how it came to be.
So I'd just been retired. It was 2013. I'd retired in 2010, so it was 3 years post, and I had just decided to stop going to college, and I was just like, well, screw it, I'm just gonna play music. And so I started focusing on nothing but music. And this lady, Rachel Jackson, she was at the time she was managing me. And we were basically brand new in the whole situation together. And she called me one day and she goes, hey, would you be willing to write a song for Gold Star Moms by August of this year? And I'm thinking to myself, this is where I use the F bomb. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck am I supposed to say to that?
Yeah.
What? And again, like I say, I used to have a hard time saying no. Like, hey, we're gonna run up that hill just for fun. Okay, fine. You know, um, and so I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. I had 8 months, and I thought about it for like 3 months, and I didn't know what to do, what to say, how. And one afternoon, I washed my Jeep out. It was middle of summer. It's like June or something, and I was gonna go visit somebody. I don't remember who I was gonna go visit, but I was gonna go visit somebody, and I'd taken the top down. I'd taken all the things out of my Jeep, and I literally sprayed the tub out. You know, I still had wet seats and board shorts, whatever, cargo shorts or something, flip flops and all that trash. And so I'm driving, and I'm sitting on Marine Boulevard on Highway 17. I'm sitting on Gum Branch, getting ready to turn left on Highway 17 to go up toward freaking Swansboro. And the first verse hit me like a ton of bricks. And all I had in my Jeep was a Sharpie up in the dash console. And so I reached up and I grabbed that Sharpie and I pulled up my shorts leg and I wrote the first verse on my thigh because it hit me like that. And I didn't, because if I didn't write it down, it was gone.
Right.
So I wrote it down and then I started messing around with it. And it still took me another 2-3 months to finish the song because it was a hard song.
I believe
the song started out about the letter in my pocket to my mother in the event that I didn't come home. So that's where Dear Mom came from. It came from that experience and 2 tours of combat and, you know, the letter from my son and my wife at the time and my mother and like just all that. That's where it all came from. And it came out like a, you know, it came out like a river at first and then it got plugged up again. And then I'm still dealing with a lot of my own PTSD at the time. So I might have plugged it up myself.
Yeah.
So, but that's the song. That's what the song's about.
Well, guys, I promise you're not going to want to miss this. It's a amazing video, and I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let the video speak for itself. Please let me know in the comments that you guys can hear the audio. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to hop over to YouTube and give this a listen on Shannon Book Music once my computer cooperates. So here we go, guys. Here is Dear Mom by Mr. Shannon Book.
When he got killed, he was killed, and the Army disagrees with this, but his man told us that he was killed while they were looking for Bo Bergdahl. He was the guy that deserted.
We had a very close relationship, and I miss it every day. There's just a constant barrage of things that come up that I think, oh, I need to tell Darren that, or Darren would do this, or
he and his buddies, we would pick them up at 29 Palms and bring them home, and I would hear the stories and how of the firefights, the stuff that they don't tell you on TV, the true stories. And I'd sit in the hallway with the pillow crying.
So when he got back from Iraq the second time, the PTSD was pretty much out of control. And they fed him the typical, hey, take this in the morning, take this at night, and multiplied it out. You know, if this wasn't working, if one wasn't working, well, he add 2 more. A couple months later, it's still not working, add 3 more. One night he called me. He was going to stay at base for the weekend. We had a conversation, and probably within 8 hours, he was dead.
I am the mother of Corporal Benjamin Kopp, who was an Army Ranger that was killed in action in July of 2009. The day after he landed at Walter Reed, he was determined to be brain dead. However, the brain death qualified him, if you will, to become an organ donor. And so his all of his major organs, bone, skin, and tissue were donated, and his heart is literally still beating today. And a woman from Chicago, you know, I believe it was Emerson, the poet, who stated that the one thing about life that he's learned is that it goes on, whether we want it to or not.
Dear Mom, I had a few minutes to write down what's itching inside my mind. It's been too long since we have talked about nothing at all. Wish I could call. I know you're lost. Please don't you worry. There's no need to hurry. just stay strong. It won't be long before we're together, right here in heaven. I miss you, Mom. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be there when you breathe and while you're sleeping. Dear Mom, I know you are hurting, feeling the burden of me not there. You're way too strong to give up on living instead of still giving the love in your heart. I know it's hard, but never forget the things that I did and the reasons why you are my mom. So please keep on living, caring and giving. I love you, Mom. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be there when you breathe while you're sleeping. I can't believe I'm saying these words to you, but believe what I'm saying. You made me the man that I am. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be here when you breathe while you're sleeping. I love you, Mom.
People say, time heals, time cures, time. And it does in a sense, but there's not a day goes by that we're not reminded of him. There's not a, day go by that I don't play that song on the stereo just to remember him. We just smile more and hide it better. And that's what you do to get through the day.
We are Christians and we have a very strong walk in the Lord, and we have relied on our faith for most of everything.
What people can do to remember my sacrifice or my son's sacrifice is to remember him, to say his name, and not just him, but the hundreds, tens of thousands of other men and women that have sacrificed their lives for the greater good, for our country, for our freedom, and also to remember the families that have paid the price along with them.
God took him. I have to believe that it was his time. And to me, he's a hero because now there's people that we can help. And we were so focused on him. And maybe he had to go so we could help others.
Live a life worth living. Live your life in a manner that they never got the chance to. Be who they would become. Become who they never got a chance to be. And do it in their honor.
This is why we're here, y'all. This is why we exist. This is why Tackle 22 is here. exists to help others. You know, as we get so hung up on the number 22 that we fail to remember the hundreds of people behind each one of those 22 a day, the family members, the friends, um, mothers, fathers, brothers. Um, we're gonna you're muted, buddy.
Oh, I'm muted. There we go. So let me just
Uh,
tell you. Let me just tell you a little bit about this video and the making of this video. So the video was done. The video was directed by Christopher Martini of Triple Martini Productions. And Christopher Martini he's a true artist. And I had absolutely no idea. It's my first big production. And I didn't know what to expect. Didn't know anything about the whole process. Clueless. It was the videography was done by Chad Campbell, who is I'm gonna call him out. He's a 53-year-old beast. Like literally looks like a triangle upside down. Still and carries a freaking camera boom like it's supposed to be on him, like a horse carries a saddle. And it was produced by Chrissy Statham. And then that's just the beginning of this. Those people aren't veterans. And then you put together this cast and crew of, I had at least, there was like 5 people that I wanted to bring onto this thing, period. That I had to bring onto this thing. That was the stipulation. The Marine that you see in the video is actually another Navy corpsman. He's a Master Chief now. We were together in Iraq during OIF 1 and OIF 2. He was part of Echo Company. He's an Echo Company freaking. He was a company corpsman. He was lead corpsman for Echo Company, and Reyes Camacho, who is now a Navy chief in San Antonio at Corps School. They were both with me during both of those evolutions, and they were both brand new sailors. And they've gone on to do amazing things. Jason's a Master Chief now, and he works for, I don't know, somebody in Norfolk that's way up there. And, Reyes is working at the schoolhouse, teaching them how to do what we did, And then there was, I had a couple of Gold Star family members. So we ended up using a gravestone from a Marine, Matthew Matula, that was in 2-1, that was killed. Wow. I asked another Marine's mother, she's a Gold Star mom, Erin Olson. I asked her, Dion Miller, if she would be a part of it, and then things happened. And I also asked Janine Lutz, who's she's the man. There's going back through all this is like it's a little it's like a little emotional roller coaster, but
it is, but it's needed. I want to hone in on something that you said.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the producer and director, and you mentioned that they weren't veterans, and and I say this all the time in my content, my live streams, that we can't circle the wagons anymore. We can't block ourselves off as veterans and only only receive comfort and support from other veterans. You
No.
know, I tell people all the time, we make up as veterans, we make up 1 to 2% of the population of the
Right.
United States. No job is getting done with 1 to 2% of the workforce.
No, and it's so poignant that you make that statement, because at the end of the day, and I'm on the same same sheet of music as you are, and I used to be that guy. Like, don't talk to
Same.
me. You like, what do you
Same.
know about what I've dealt with? Like, how many times have you wiped your friend off your face? Like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you're absolutely right. And here's the real big picture of that. And
Veteran suicide just doesn't affect veterans.
no, it affects everybody in the freaking. It affects everybody. And I'm going to tell you this. This is going to sting a little bit. It ain't just about veterans.
No.
It ain't. Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Robin Williams. Come on, people. It ain't just about us. It ain't just about us. At
And
the end of
those
the
are,
day, it is about us, but it ain't just about us.
and the names you mentioned were millionaires. You know, you
would think that
would
Robin
think
Williams
they
was
were
one of the
living a
happiest
good
men on
life.
the planet. You thought
Yeah.
Robin Williams did more for us than most people will ever do.
Mental health matters across the board, no matter if you served or not.
Right.
And veteran suicide affects civilians just as much as it affects the military and veterans in general, because my whole family's not military.
And in the
He's whole
immortal words of Gunny Highway, adapt, improvise, and overcome belongs to you, not the civilians.
That's right.
They weren't taught how to do that. It's our job, always moving forward, to learn how to adapt and improvise.
So I want to take a little break here and play an advertisement from one of our sponsors, Apex Predator Outfitters. Their owner, Jeff Frazier, he's here all the time. He's a retired first sergeant, and we're going to show some love to the people who show love to us. So we'll be right back.
Can I say something real quick? Hold on. Let me just tell you, Jeff, I know you're in here. I'm just going to say something. I don't know how you got so lucky to get married into a wolf pack, but I'm a fan. Just saying.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome all the qualities of an apex predator. Go check him out, apexpredatoroutfitters.com, or go to tackle22fishing.com. Click on sponsors, scroll to the bottom, click shop, and use code tackle22 at checkout for a nice little kickback to our nonprofit organization and help us continue our mission. So thanks, Jeff, for that opportunity, and thank you for your support. So
hide and watch. I'm getting a t-shirt. Watch and hide and watch and hide.
I love his t-shirts, man, are just great quality. They feel great.
That's cool.
I meant to put one on before this stream tonight, but I was too invested in my jambalaya bowl. I had 3 minutes to eat before this live stream. But
if it makes you feeling better, I had to scarf down half of my French dip from McAllister's.
French dip sounds good.
Oh,
but man, I'm so glad we met. I'm so glad you decided to come on this live stream. I think
I'm grateful for you, man.
I think the world needs your music. I think veterans specifically could gain a lot from it. Families, Gold Star families, Blue Star families, families of the fallen, families of the 22. I definitely think that they need your music. And anyone out there who is struggling with their mental health, give Shannon's music a try. If music is an escape for you, which it certainly is for me, there's a song for every mood. If I'm happy, or if I'm just uplifted, man, there's probably going to be something pretty heavy playing in my truck going down the road. But if I'm if I get one of the 9,000 other moods that come from this
He's a Nickelback
disorder,
supporter, just so you know.
uh, you beat me to it, you punk. So, all right, so we're gonna open this can of worms. So whenever Shannon and I talk, especially publicly, it's usually a Nickelback joke here and there. Like, I always ask him if he was disappointed when they fired him and hired Chad Kroger.
Look at this photograph.
But man, anyone out there struggling, you are not alone. I promise you. I may be the president and the head of an organization who advocates for veterans, but I promise you, my bad days still happen, and there's still people that still get my phone calls when I'm in the weeds. One of them's in the comments right now. My tournament partner, Justin Tomlinson, Big Country, he's laughing at us, cracking jokes at each
Listen
other.
here, Justin. I watch your country ass all the time, son. I'm gonna need you to chill out, boy. We're gonna go fishing too. You know what? We're gonna go fishing too. Hide and watch. Look and
Oh,
watch. Hide and watch.
If the dynasty's going in the water, Justin will be on it. I promise you that. So, but yeah,
We're going
man,
ditch pickle fishing first.
hey, we need bait.
Facts.
Oh, come on.
Oh, see, I told you.
Come
I told
on.
you. I
Come
told
on.
you. I told you. You're a Chad Kroger fan. I mean, he's kind of cute, skinny. He needs to eat a sandwich or two.
I can't do it, man. I can't do bro rock. But man, if you're out there and you're struggling, reach out. I promise you, there is someone out there that will be your anchor. There's someone out there that will listen to you talk and hear what you have to say. And if you can't find that person, you send me a message. You send Tackle 22 Fishing a message. I promise you, if I can't do it, we'll find someone.
And you might not be able to get a hold of me right off the cuff, but I assure you, I'll get back to you. Promise.
There's no reason to struggle alone. But
And just so you know, even if you don't believe in God, He believes in you and He still loves you. You just search hard enough, I bet you'll find it.
so I'm very glad you brought that up, because I know you're a man of faith, and faith is something that I have struggled with since my time in the military, and that's going to be another podcast. There are two gentlemen that I know within the industry that I work in, the catfish industry, and one of them's a veteran, and they're both preachers, and we're gonna get on here and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna
That's
talk
awesome.
about the struggles. We're gonna talk about the anger. We're gonna talk about the forgiveness, and we're gonna hash it out. But
Dude, that's awesome.
Shannon, tell them where they can find your music, brother.
If you listen to music, you can find it wherever you listen to your music, I assure you. I really would love for everybody to go to my YouTube and stream this video as many times as possible, because that's just helping.
Yeah, if you should put it on a playlist.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Justin, you need Jesus.
If you put it on a YouTube playlist, we can put it up and stream it indefinitely.
Okay. Don't threaten me.
It'll help with watch hours. But so damn,
it's already on a playlist, but I can it's just Shannon Book's playlist.
Yeah, so he'll be the first one that pops up. You go to YouTube, you type in Dear Mom, it's the first result. So
there's two of them. There's Chris's page, and there's mine. So it doesn't really matter which one plays, but I definitely could use the hours. What did he say?
Justin said he done rolled his eyes at me.
Son, you need Jesus. I'm just saying.
We do.
Both y'all.
I miss him, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet you do. I know I did. I did. Sometimes I miss him when I'm not listening.
So, but Shannon, I appreciate you being here, brother. I appreciate you doing what you do. in the music industry. I appreciate you having a voice that speaks through me
Dude,
sometimes, and appreciate you getting me through some pretty shitty days. And I appreciate you making fun of me when I was crying like a little girl after watching your music video. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
I appreciate that the most.
I
But
don't know what you're talking about, Soda Fountain.
guys, I think that's about it for tonight. We've been at it for about an hour. If you're out there watching, guys and girls, veterans, advocates, friends, family members, you never know what someone's going through. You never know someone's struggle. So pick up the phone, reach out to someone you hadn't spoken to in a while, or someone who's just kind of fallen by the wayside. You never know what someone's going through, and you never know, you might save a life. So reach out to your people. Reach out to people you don't know. Make new friends. Shake a hand. Somebody looking down,
Yep.
go up and shake a hand. Introduce yourself. Be an advocate. Be a means to change.
Don't give a hand out. Give a hand up.
That's right.
And then, you can always go add me to Spotify, iTunes, because that helps me too.
Definitely.
And it might even help you.
Purchase the music on iTunes.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But I'm not banking on it.
It's all right, man. Any parting words before we get out of here, Shannon?
Man, there is not enough love and gratitude to share with all of you to let you know how much I appreciate everything you guys have done for me and continue to do so. Just keep loving each other
Hard.
Yeah. And sometimes love doesn't look pretty. You don't love is not about making somebody feel good. Sometimes love is telling somebody the truth that they don't want to hear. Sometimes love is tough. So just truly love each other.
Facts. All right, guys. With that, we're going to get out of here. Check us out, tackle22fishing.com.